Hello everybody, my name is Coffee Break, and today is the day. Today is presentation day for The Cycle Begins Again, and the tutorial level is by far from polished. It's a far way away from polished, whatever. But I just kind of wanted to give you guys a very informal update and a very informal form, I guess, of the presentation that I'll be giving this evening for my class. So just to warn you guys, towards the end of this video, there's going to be a little bit more interesting stuff, I will say. But in the beginning and the middle of the video, I'm going to be talking a little bit about some of the objects that I have in the game and the way that they interact with the code. And I'll actually be looking at some of the code. So if any of you are interested in that or just kind of want to see how it works, this is a great time. Otherwise, you can skip to the video. Skip around towards about the middle, towards the end of the video, and you guys will see actually a little bit of the gameplay elements that I've implemented since the last time that we tuned in. So I do have a little bit of a presentation list. I'll reference this a couple of times while we go through here. So what I'm going to be going over is some of the graphic styles that we already talked about. The FLA file, which is going to be the flash file, is what you're looking at right now, and it's just going to be the objects that I'm manipulating with the code for all intents and purposes. I'll talk a little bit about the collision detection that I'm using, how I'm not falling through the earth pretty much, and some of the 2D physics engine that I implemented. And then, to show off some of the stuff that I've done, just some of the pretty stuff, I have 2 attacks ready, I have some hit tests working properly, and I'll end with a movement bug that I found that's been very frustrating to me, as well as just showing you a quick player death for the fun of it. So first of all, I want to give a really big shout out to Tyler T. Porter for working on the graphics. He's done an awesome job. I believe he's still working on a lot of the graphics, but he's also in school as well, and he doesn't get credit for this. So everything that we're seeing here is just stuff that he's done in his spare time. So I've had to deconstruct everything that he sent me and pretty much reconstruct it from the ground up. Over here, this is just something I slapped on real fast today. You can tell that it's not very refined, but it's just to eliminate some of the white space. So the first thing I want to look at is our level 0. This is the level 0 object. This is everything that you're doing. Everything that I'm manipulating with the code pretty much happens right here. So there's 3 layers here, and actually this one shouldn't exist anymore. That's an old layer. It's a test layer, and I'm not using that style of, I'm not implementing that type of code anymore. I changed it up a little bit. I know that's kind of vague, but just go with it. So the 2 important layers I have here are the background layer and the collision layer. So, and also, by the way, there's a piece of paper flying above the webcam, so if that blocks it by accident, I apologize. So I'm going to make both these layers invisible for a moment here, and I'm going to show you them one at a time. The first one I'm going to show you is the background layer, and now you'll notice there's really not much a lot to this. Well, actually, there's everything but the grass, I should say, but it looks really unrefined. It looks kind of harsh and bleh. You can see that, you can kind of see like where the bottom of the hill, where Tyler stopped editing the hills because there was no need, so that's actually getting covered up the entire time. You can see different layers and textures of the dirt and mud beneath our players' feet. And it goes along the level, there's some choppy stuff. And, I mean, it looks alright, but it looks kind of unfinished. It looks kind of bleh. So, this area, you technically never touches the player. It's simply there, it's aesthetics. It makes the game look pretty. The important layer, the one that you really need to keep an eye on, and the part that I'm manipulating with my code, is the collision layer. And so you're seeing here, this is everything that I'm doing the coding with. This is the stuff that you're not falling through. This is the stuff that you're standing on top of, for instance. So, that's the, yeah, that's what that is. I'll look into the code for that in just a couple of seconds here because it's very important. There's one little thing I want to note because it's very important for hit testing to see, you know, if object A is touching object B. And to do that, we're going to look, this is the collision layer, but we're going to look at the object that is the collision layer. So, this is outside of the background. This is outside of level 0. This is just the stripped down collision layer. And you'll notice within the collision layer, I have 2 different layers here. What could that mean exactly? Well, you see, there's actually an invisible layer right here that stops you from being able to walk off the side of the map. This is something I just put in real fast today. And the important thing is, the reason why you can't see it is I set what's called its alpha value to 0, aka its opacity. I just pretty much turned it invisible, which took a long time to figure out because who the hell calls opacity alpha? I don't understand that in the slightest. That was like 4 hours of research to find that. It was ridiculous. I was so mad. But I found it eventually, and it's very important for hit testing, and I'll tell you why I'm showing you this in a little bit. But this guy here, he's called Target Practice. You'll see him twice in the next, towards the end of the video when I'm showing off the level. He actually has an invisible hit test line around him, so that when I'm trying to stab him with a sword, I'm actually testing, am I hitting this invisible layer that's surrounding this guy? And the reason it's important is because then I can make it very form-fitting. So, if I just select him totally, you can see his entire hit test box actually extends all the way out to the sword. And if I was touching, for instance, right here, it would count as a hit. So having that invisible line around him that's actually just, and I might be able to open it up here. Yeah, you see, you can kind of barely see that little vague outline. That's what I'm actually testing the hit test against, instead of just that entire character. So let's take a look back at the level 0, the collision and stuff. I have no idea where it is, actually. Disappeared. There it is. Oh, I have everything invisible right now. There we go. That's better. I can find my way from there. Oh, and also at 800%. There we go. That looks right. So, let's talk a little bit about this collision layer. How does this work? How are we not falling through the ground? Well, welcome to game.as, game.actionscript3 code. Before this code was about, I should say before last Saturday, this code was about 800, 900 lines long, but I took the time to cut it up, make it look nice and pretty, so instead I'm calling another ActionScript file called player movement. So we're going to take a look first at player is bumping. So what that's going to be testing is, am I touching the collision layer? That's what I need to know. So you'll notice all of these little points here. There's a whole bunch of them. I have 6 around my main character. And if we come over to the FLA file, the flash file, and load up my hero char, you'll actually be able to see these being implemented here. So the little circles that you're seeing around the hero character aren't actually part of the game. They aren't actually anything important, but they represent something that is there. It's an invisible thing. These make it visible, so it's pretty much just there for debugging and testing purposes. So these represent all those points that you saw in the code here. And the ones I want to look at specifically are the right foot bump and the left foot bump. These two right here and right here. So those are going to be checking down here if we come, and this is the code, that's the important part here. We're saying if the level, if on the level, on the collision layer, we're going to be testing the collision layer versus, and this means that pretty much all this stuff in here just means, is it touching the right foot bump point? If it is, we set a value to true. We set right bumping to true. And all the way down in the movement code, we have this right here. If right bumping, if we are touching, if right bumping is true, if we are touching the collision layer with that right foot, change the speed. Excuse me. We're going to change the speed. We're going to multiply it by negative 0.5. So we're going to have the value and make us run in an opposite direction. Same thing with the left foot. So I'm going to show you here what that means exactly. I'm going to come down here. It's a little bit better of a representation. So right here, we're going to make our left foot bump point touch that, and I'll show you what happens. You bounce off. That's all that code means, is that you don't get to go through it, you will bounce off of it. So a lot of code. Again, that was a lot of research and a lot of time invested to figure that out. But I eventually got it. The other things I kind of wanted to go over a little bit was our 2D physics that I'm utilizing in this game, and a little bit about how the character is actually moving. So let's look at the character movement first. You'll see scroll X, scroll Y, speed X, speed Y. Those are going to be the variables that manipulate the character moving around. They're all the way down here, and they are manipulated by constant values. The constant values are part of the 2D physics that I have. So I have the speed constant, which is going to be how quickly my character accelerates. My speed is always going to be multiplied by the friction in the game, and I'll explain why in just a moment. Speed max is just the fastest your character can go. That will be manipulated by the RPG elements of the game. We have the gravity constant that pulls you back to the earth when you jump to a maximum value of 25 units up. So the reason I have that friction constant in the game is it makes for a very nice smooth acceleration, and it makes it so I don't go chunk, 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 and you slow, and you would actually be able to notice if I didn't have the friction value, my character would be, my speed would be 1.5, 3, dun, 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 and it's very choppy and nasty looking. The other reason is, you'll notice so I'm pushing down right movement, hand off the keyboard, and I'm still moving there. So the friction is constantly multiplying against my speed that I'm currently traveling at, so it's going to slowly decelerate me to 0. So that means that I don't just stop instantly. So if I'm going max speed, I don't just stop and it looks kind of funny. I slowly decelerate. And that actually has a little bit to do with the collision testing as well. When I bump off that, you notice I still move. I move backwards, but I still slowly accelerate and push off backwards. The friction helps with that as well. So that's a little bit about the 2D physics. There's nothing too insane about that. The implementation was kind of weird because I know I keep pulling up. I really shouldn't exit out of this Swift file, the game file here. So you'll notice my character is always on the middle of the screen. I have the character centered on the screen, and it's actually the character is never moving. The background behind him is actually what's scrolling left and right behind him. So that's why you're always just kind of in the middle of the screen. Yeah. And by the way, there's also that invisible collision layer stopping me from going off the side. Alright. I think that's enough with all the boring coding stuff. I think you guys have had enough of that. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments or something. Let's look a little bit at the last couple of things I want to show off. This is the fun animation port where I show you how stuff is kind of working, how it actually does work, and I haven't been coding in vain here. So you see my enemy here. He is target practice. He's the one with that invisible hit test line around him. If I run into him like this, he's actually not going to register a hit. He would not take any damage if I had damage implemented into the game yet, because my sword is up in the resting position. I'm not actively trying to attack him. So to actually attack him, the attack key is going to be J for attack right, H for attack left. And I'm going to run into him, I'm going to jab him. You guys can't see anything going on there, but if I close that game file, you'll see down here, it's registering hit, 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 which means, hey, you're successful, you're touching him right now. And so I can, from there, I can implement whatever code I want. I can say, if I'm hitting him, subtract 5 health points. If I hit him, make him disappear from the screen, make him die, play the dying animation. And just the brief code for that, it's actually very simple. It's right here. It's essentially 2 lines of code. So if the sword that's attached to the arms, that's attached to the player, is touching that invisible line, and I'm currently attacking is what this means. So I'm not just sitting in resting motion. It's a hit. Say it's true. Cool. Easy code right there. That's another thing that took a little bit longer to figure out than it really should have, but I got it. So I have that basic attack, and I also actually have one of the character's special abilities in the game. It's not debugged yet, it's still a little bit buggy, but I discovered it by accident actually when I was trying to code or figure out a way to make my character attack left, because right now all I can do is attack right. So if I hit K, welcome to the whirlwind attack, where you just fire back and forth really freaking fast. And what I'm trying to do, there we go, I'm trying to get it for the left attack where I flip the character around. And you can see there, now I'm attacking left. And now I'm kind of stuck left, actually. So I have to try to manipulate whirlwind, and actually you can see I'm stuck in the attack down position. It's still a little bit buggy, but that was a complete accident to discover it, so I just decided to throw it in real fast so I could show off a little bit of what I can do other than just a basic little jab motion. Other than that, everything is pretty normal. I think, have I replicated the movement bug yet for you guys? I don't think I have, so let's see if I can do that real fast. Oh, nope, didn't get it there. It's kind of difficult to get sometimes. You have to be in the right area for it. Might be. Maybe this will do it. Nope. I'll give it one more shot over here. I know of an area where I can really do it well. Okay, I'll take us back to that area real fast. Oh, wait, maybe I can do it right here. Let's try it. Woo! Nope. Okay, well, I'll take us over to that area. While I'm getting there, I can show you the one other thing that I have. This is also another feature that's not fully implemented yet. There is still some problems. It's the character dying. Blam! Fall on a spike, he's dead. What the problem is that's supposed to bring up a game over screen, but you can see down here, I'm getting all sorts of error messages from the game going, this isn't right, something's not working right, something's not working right. So I do still have to fix that, but that'll take a little bit of time, and that's not the most important feature in the world. Yet. character dying in game over is important, but not yet. There we go. Yeah, see, I can get the glitch really well right there. So if you jump off of, I should actually point with the mouse. If you jump off the high ground onto the low ground, what's happening is that since I'm moving so fast that in between frames, my character is essentially moving beneath the collision layer, and then another frame pops up and goes, oh, you're in the collision layer. Cool, you're there now. But I've actually moved far enough down into the collision layer where my left foot and my right foot bump points are always true. So I can't really move at all. There's this really, it's kind of a weird little glitch. I think I know how to fix it, but I've tried to fix it a couple of times. I think I know how I'm going to do it now. This isn't game ending. If it doesn't, if, you know, for some reason it doesn't get fixed, or I try to fix it and the game rolls out and it's still happening, you just jump and you're out of it. It puts you back on top of the collision layer and you can get out. So there is the long-winded version of my presentation. A couple of quick shout-outs once again to Tyler T. Porter for doing an awesome job on the graphics. I actually have some music that I can sample from him as well that I'll probably throw in somewhere in this video, probably right now. Okay, so I'm guessing that's about 15 seconds. The music's probably ending right about now. Otherwise, it's going to be really awkward silence if I forget to edit that in. I also want to give a big shout out to AS3 Game Tutorials, as3gametuts.com. That's where I found a lot of the code and a lot of the instruction to make a lot of the character movement and the collision layer works. Without that, I don't even know where I would be at this point. It was wonderful. So thank you to those two sources. And that's all I've got for now. I plan to have the tutorial level hopefully finished by mid-July, and that will be kind of a functional alpha then. And moving further on, I'm hoping to have the game finished and into beta by mid-August to early September. So kind of a time frame window as to where that's looking. If you've stuck around for the entire video this long, thank you very much for giving me that much of your time and attention. If you just kind of skipped ahead to the fun parts where I'm showing off different attacks, thank you for coming in as well. Until next time, guys, this is Coffee Break, signing out.